Welcome to the Four Heroes podcast. Today, we have a special guest with us. Brandon Drake is a firefighter and AEMT with Fayette County Fire and EMS and the founder of Heroes and Angels. It's clear that Brandon is passionate about what he does, and it's that passion that led him to start this incredible organization. Through their apparel and merchandise, Heroes and Angels shares the stories of brave men and women who have made and are currently making sacrifices to serve their country and their communities. Brandon also shares a very special Giving Wings campaign that benefits one of their own, firefighter Callan Wheeler and his wife, Mia. Thank you for listening. We hope that you enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Four Heroes podcast. This is Frank Mercer. I'm the founder, executive director, and lead public safety chaplain for Heroes, sitting here at the table with my friend and partner in crime, Bonnie Douglas. She's our director of operations at For Heroes. And this morning we have a very special guest, Brandon Drake. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Brandon. He's a firefighter and AEMT with Fayette County Fire and EMS, and just a good guy. He has started an organization called Heroes and Angels, and he's going to talk with us more about that.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. Brandon, thank you so much for being here. Since Frank mentioned having this conversation, I've been really excited to hear more about your story. One of the big, very significant parts of your life is something we already mentioned. You're a first responder. So how did you get involved with public safety? Was there anything specific that drew you to that or led you in that direction?
Oh, deep question. Thank you guys for having me. I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah, I think I was always going to end up in this role at some point in life. I didn't really have a plan going out of high school. I had a dear friend of mine whose dad was a volunteer firefighter, and that was what I always said I wanted to do, but I didn't really believe it.
Okay.
And so I went to college, and college wasn't for everybody. So I ended up following my dad's footsteps and joining the military. I was in for a little bit, and medically, it didn't work out. My path didn't end up being the military. Ultimately, a good friend of ours, Michael Singleton and Jimmy Hall, recommended me to come to the fire service.
Good guys.
I think I was always going to end up in the fire service.
Yeah.
I was always longing for more, and I found my way working with Jimmy and Mike, and they thought that the fire service would be good for me. So
Both of whom were career firefighters.
They were. And I had some good friends here as well, like Austin Bobo, Zach Bull at Fayette County. They had tried to get me on years ago, and I was doing pretty good in my career in the water and wastewater industry. So I kind of told them I wasn't interested at the time, but
yeah,
I ended up finding my way here. So
that's great. So part of what drew you in was it was a vocation where you really felt like what you were doing mattered.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there's this longing to make a difference.
Yeah.
Being from a military family, you want to make an impact in people's lives, and I thought that the fire service was a way to do that. So I'm super excited to be a part of that and thankful for the opportunity. The citizens of Fayette County are great, and the fire department's wonderful. And
yeah,
I had no idea EMS was a part of that realm, but here we are.
Yes, it is.
Well, in conversations that we've had, you've mentioned your faith, which is awesome.
Of course.
Often as public safety chaplains, we try to help first responders connect who Jesus is with the day-to-day challenges of running calls and stepping into emergency situations. So can you tell us a little bit about your faith journey and how Jesus offers you hope and help as you serve your community?
Of course. I have the traditional Southern Baptist upbringing. My mom was great and wonderful, and she had us in church at a young age.
Yeah.
I started off in Ola, and that's where we still are. Me and my wife and my kids, we go to Sharon Baptist Church. I was saved at 8 years old and really didn't know what I was doing when I was baptized. I thought I did, and of course I wanted a relationship with Jesus, but I really didn't fully comprehend what it meant.
Yeah.
So I had a period of my life where I might have stepped away from my faith, and I wasn't, reading the Bible as much as I should. My relationship with Jesus kind of fell off. And when I had kids, me and my wife realized that it was really important to get back involved. And so we found ourselves back at our home church that we both grew up in and we both were raised in.
Yeah.
We both went through the youth group there, and we're back there. And now some of our dear friends are helping run that church, and it's a good thing. So yeah, my faith has always been really the rock that's kept my family together and keeps me together.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I see that a lot. People grow up in church. They have a few years where they drift a little bit. It's not even that they were, wayward prodigals. It's just that they drift. And it's a thing that happens. And then kids come into the picture, and you remember how important that foundation was for you, and you want your kids to have that same foundation. And it's like this recall back. And I'm so glad that you've reconnected with Jesus. I'm so glad that you've reconnected with church. It's a beautiful thing. And it's one of the things that has led you to do what you're doing, because one of the ways that you have put your faith into action is starting this organization, Heroes and Angels. And obviously we want to hear the story of how all that came about. Can you share a little bit about what Heroes and Angels is and how it got started, maybe even why it got started?
Of course. So starting Heroes and Angels was something I always wanted to do. I drew a lot of inspiration from another company that's out there. It's called Eagles and Angels. It's started by a Delta Force operator. His name's Tom. It's a wonderful organization that pays tribute to the veterans and the military community.
Yeah.
They solely focus on that, and I'm a big hat guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the one you're wearing right now. I know our
So,
listeners can't see it, but it's awesome.
Of course. So I love the hats that they do, and I love their purpose and what they do. And being a part of the fire service, I felt like I could open up that same concept and focus in on the fire service. And I didn't want to limit myself to one sector, because I really feel like anybody can be a hero. Whether it's your family member, your mom, your dad, your granddad, a firefighter, a dispatcher, an EMS responder, a sheriff, a police officer, anybody can be a hero. So I didn't want to focus in on one sector. I wanted to open it up to everybody. For a couple of years, I kind of played with the idea, and I'm not the creative type. So I'm pretty good at piecing other things together, but it's organically, I'm not creative. So I was seeing a lot of companies out there doing a lot of cool things, and I wanted to make my own impact. So I kind of did some research, and it took about 2 years to get it going. But here we are. I started Heroes and Angels, and we're up and running now. So basically what I do is we take personal belongings or materials or garments, whether that be a uniform or a button-up shirt, and we deconstruct that material, cut it up into pieces, and then we're able to reuse that for personal products, whether it be a wallet or a hat or a T-shirt. And then we're able to kind of sell those items with a piece of the individual we're trying to highlight. So that way you're able to connect to the individual that we're telling a story about. So, and all that is not my idea. That is all originally from Eagles and Angels. He was a Delta Group operator, and he said he was up in the attic with his daughter, and his daughter was like, "You have all this stuff, and I know nothing about your service.
Yeah.
And you have all these uniforms, and they're just sitting around in these boxes in our attic. Tell me about it." And so he just kind of connected with his daughter for the first time since retiring. And it was a magical moment where he realized that he's not the only one that hasn't been able to tell his story. All these awesome stories are stuck in this attic, and he needs to get it out. So they came up with the idea of cutting up the uniforms and then selling them and telling the story. So I basically took that idea and wanted to open it up to the rest of the communities out there that sacrifice their lives to serve. My realm is the fire service, and I do want to organically grow into the other realms. Fire service is very important to me, and I love my brotherhood, and I want to help those people out.
It's very personal, taking that item of clothing and, as you said, deconstructing it. And,
Yeah.
you're really kind of redeeming that thing that's been sitting in a box and using it in a way that helps people tell their story or tell the story of others. That's really fascinating.
One of the main ideas for Heroes and Angels is sponsoring LODDs, the line of duty deaths. I just want to tell the story of that individual. I want the story to get out there. I don't want them to get lost in the sands of time. I want people to know. We like to donate as much as we can, and that's our way to contribute. We have a few partnerships with some nice foundations, some 501(c) organizations that allow us to donate, and we love what they stand for. The All Secure Foundation, started by Tom Satterley. The Yard Foundation that helps firefighters nationally, as well as GoFundMe accounts or anything else. That's how we donate our portions. We donate anywhere from 10 to 20% of all sales. And we also, for special fundraisers, we do $13. There is a significance with the $13. It's kind of convoluted, but the $13 plays into our logo, as well as whenever you have a death in any line of service, you receive a folded flag. And the folded flag is folded 13 times.
Okay.
And so each fold means something. As well as there's 13 stars in our original American flag. We do a lot of flag designs on our products, so we have a connection with the flag. There's 13 stars on the Medal of Honor, which is one of the nation's highest awards for heroism in our military. So there's a lot of connection with the number 13. It is a higher number when you're talking about products that just generally aren't worth a lot of money.
Right.
$25 for a product and $13 is going for the donation. But we felt like that connection is important. So we'd like to stick with the $13 on certain fundraisers.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. So speaking of fundraisers or specific projects, I'd love to know, are there any projects you're currently working on? Some of our listeners are incredibly active, and I'm sure would love to know how they can get involved. So what's your latest Heroes and Angels endeavor?
Of course. So like I said, everybody is a hero. And currently we have Fayette County Fire and Emergency Services, one of our own, Callan Wheeler, him and his wife, they got devastating news recently. And so we are starting a fundraiser for him.
For our listeners who don't know, Callan's actually Welsh. He's from Wales, has an amazing accent. I love that guy. He's so funny, and has such a good heart. He's just a good guy. He married Mia, I guess a couple of years ago. They have a little girl, Bronwyn, and it's a beautiful little family. Mia, sadly, was diagnosed with cancer. It's a relatively new diagnosis, maybe just within the last month. And the hearts of everybody at County Fire and EMS have just been broken, and going out to them looking for ways that we can serve and assist and minister to them. It's just a beautiful family. There's a GoFundMe page up right now, and we'll leave you some details in how to connect with that. But so this is the project, trying to help the Wheelers. Yeah, so we are going to do a line of hats, and those $13 for each hat is going to be donated to the Wheeler family. And that's kind of one of our main projects that we have going on right now. Heroes and Angels, we're brand new. We don't have a lot of projects going on. Callan's our very first project that we'd like to raise money for that family. They're a wonderful family, and where Heroes and Angels is looking for anyone else that might need help, that might not know how to go about raising money for you or somebody else you may know that is in the service. And it doesn't have to be the fire service. Heroes and Angels is open to anybody that can be a hero. Yeah. We do focus on the fire service currently, but we'd like to open it up to all lines of service. Yeah. So you're looking for stories to tell, and you're looking for people to
participate and buy some of the products that you're making to raise money for these heroes.
Of course.
That's kind of the two big things that you're looking for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of your hats that you're wearing?
It is. So
Yeah?
this is one of the first ones we've made. We put them through the ringer. They're identical to the Eagles and Angels hats.
Okay.
This is not a uniform. This is just a generic 500D material. So it has no meaning behind it. It was just it was just a product line.
Yeah.
We're just experimenting with some stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to have some generic Heroes and Angels brand things that you can buy at any point in time. But we basically have 3 lines of products. We have our Heroes and Angels brand products that are strictly for the business. Then we have our Giving Wings Foundation project. That's where Callan and his family is sponsored. Those are ones that are not necessarily tied to a heroic event. Those are just standalone fundraisers for a family member or somebody involved with the service.
And you're calling it Giving Wings.
Giving Wings.
Tell me about that. What's Giving Wings?
So Giving Wings is just a play on words. The Heroes and Angels is our main focus. And so Heroes would be our line of the Heroes collection is for individuals that go through a heroic event, whether you were able to get a cardiac save or a structure fire grab and saved somebody. That's where we want to highlight those stories. That's our hero line.
Right.
And then our Angels line, of course, is for those deaths, people that we want to sponsor after their deaths. That's where we sponsor the LODDs, where they've died in the line of service, or maybe somebody died due to a medical event after their service, that they were still heroes and now they're angels. So that's our Angels line. And there was that weird area where, I mean, I think Mia's a hero. I think you know anybody's a hero.
Yes.
So we wanted to.
Any spouse of a firefighter is a hero.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Any mom is a
There's
hero.
so much sacrifice in the service that I don't think people realize.
Yes.
And that was one of the things I didn't realize when I got into it. I was thinking, 24/48, that's a great benefit to have. I'll be home with my family all the time. There's a lot of demand. It's hard on your families, and our spouses are incredible for putting up with it. Honestly, it's hard out there.
Yeah.
As far as the company standpoint, it was hard to sponsor those people in the Heroes tab. I wanted to separate it, so we had the Giving Wings collection line.
I love it. I love that it's something tangible that continues to tell the story of that person, even if that person's not with us anymore. Their story continues to be told. It's not just lost.
Of course, we don't want anybody to be forgotten or any story, really, because everybody's got one.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
That's right. You've got a story. You've got an amazing story, and we really appreciate you sharing it with us, Brandon. You're just one of the best dudes I know, and I know a lot of dudes.
Thanks, Frank.
He does. He does.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us and for telling the story of Heroes and Angels. And we look forward to seeing the organization grow. And I'm excited about how the support is going to assist the Wheeler family.
Of course. We're excited. Thank you for having me. You guys are wonderful. We love what you do at For Heroes. Thank you for everything you do for Fayette County. We can't thank you enough. You're dear to all of us, and your whole organization is.
Thank you, Brandon. It's an honor to serve you guys.
Yes,
and,
it is.
I guess that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you for listening to the For Heroes podcast. It's super easy to connect with Heroes and Angels to support their work and their Giving Wings campaign for the Wheelers. Visit their website at heroesandangels.squarespace.com to pre-order the Wheeler family hat. You can also visit Heroes and Angels on Instagram and Facebook at heroes.angels or email them at team.heroesandangels@gmail.com. Visit For Our Heroes on social media if you would like to give directly to the Wheeler family through their GoFundMe during this challenging time. Thank you for your support.